Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I am so happy that you're here and I really appreciate you clicking on this video because today is another 4 for 4 and this is another chopping block video. So I have 4 palettes that were on my chopping block. That series has been over on Instagram, just photos of different palettes. I had like a spread out of palettes that I just wasn't inspired by, or I looked at them and I was just like meh about. So I have been trying them each for one day, and if they survive that one day, then they get put into a chopping block 4 for 4 series. So I do have 4 palettes here. I have the Balm Meet Matt Shmaker. I have StudioMakeup on the go eyeshadow palette in Cooldown. Then I have Stila Eyes Are the Windows to the Soul, and this is in Eyes Are the Window Soul palette. And then I have the Kitten palette by Winky Lux, which was originally a collaboration with BoxyCharm. We're going to start with the StudioMakeup. Actually, I think this I got in a BoxyCharm, one of my very first BoxyCharms. This came in a BoxyCharm. This came in a Try Beauty box. So 3 of these were in subscription boxes, and this one I got for like 60% off because they were doing a big Stila sale. Yeah, I need to that's part of the reason why I'm not doing subscription boxes as much right now. We're going to start with the StudioMakeup on the go Cooldown palette. This is a nice palette. It does not have a mirror, but it does have 9 shades. I liked that these were all about the same size and had roughly the same amount of shadows. It's very pretty. There's some very pretty like mauve tones in there. Let me swatch them and then we'll talk about them. Okay, so there they all are swatched from lightest to darkest. There's some pretty shades in there. I do like the shimmers. I think the shimmers are very nice. I like the kind of purple shade in there. And it's an alright palette. I'm not a big cool tone fan. I mean, today I have cool tones on because a lot of the palettes that are in this are ones that are cool toned. So anyway, this is one that you'll eventually see up on Instagram because it's not one of these. So I kind of like this one and I'm struggling like whether I should keep it or not because there are some pretty shades in there, like this one, and it looked all right on my eyes. I didn't love it. So let me know what your thoughts are down below. And we'll see as I go through these what I end up doing with them. So this palette, I like the way that the shimmers performed. They went on with a brush really well and they looked nice and shimmery. The mattes were pretty soft. I mean, there's other ones that are definitely softer, but they most of the time blended all right. I did have a little bit of trouble with this newer primer that I'm using, eye primer. So it was a little stickier then. There was fallout with the shimmers, but I think this is a good palette. Like the reason I'm struggling is because it's a good quality palette, but I don't know how much I'll actually use the colors. I think there's some pretty colors, but I don't know how much I'm going to use them. So it's definitely a good quality palette. It's just the colors that I'm struggling with. All right, let's look at the other 9-pan palette that we have, which is the Winky Lux Kitten palette. This is not my only Winky Lux palette. This is what it looks like. So there's kind of a crazy variety in here. You got some pretty shimmers, you got a weird blue in the middle, and then you have kind of some neutrals in there as well. All right, so there are the colors in the Winky Lux, and like this shade is really pretty. It's kind of hard to see. It's shifting a little bit. This shimmer is really beautiful, as is this shimmer. That's this shimmer. It kind of changes in the light, as you can see. So I do like the 3 shimmers in here, these 2 and this one. I wasn't as, like, you can see how patchy this shade is there. I don't know. I didn't love the colors in this one. And while I really love the shimmers, and they're ones that I would put on with a finger to really bring an impact, I don't feel like this is a palette that I will ever reach for on a regular basis. So this is definitely one that I'm going to let go because I don't think the mattes are quite up to the same standard as some of the other mattes, and the colors just don't really call to me overall. Like that blue, not really into that. And I don't like the bottom row, like they're just not colors that I reach for a lot. Let's talk Matchmaker. This is from the Balm. They've done several of these type of palettes. This one does have a mirror in it. This is the first one that does. They've done several of these different matte palettes, and this one is unique in that it has a matte and it has a shimmer for each of them, and they're kind of paired up, but I don't know. I get why they're paired up, but I'm also like, if I just use those two shades, they're not going to create a look. You kind of have to mix and match between them to get a look, a good look for me. All right, and there they all are swatched. This one is a little funky because the thing with this is that the pan sizes are very small. So when I was trying to swatch them, kind of got a little bit of the glitter in there, the shimmer in there, and it didn't swatch as well as I was hoping. But the colors in here are very pretty. There's some really nice ones, very light ones. You can definitely get several different types of looks in here. There is a couple pops of color with like that maroon and that green. Obviously the black is not one that I use quite a bit, but I do like this one. I think there's some really nice some really nice shadows in here. The shimmers are really nice. As you can see, like they went on really nice. They do capture the light really well. They're my favorite part of this palette. And I do like, especially like this top row, like the mattes I can actually wear, and there's shades that I will wear. And I feel like, you know, this one I will wear, this one not as much, but I do like this. I think it's a good quality palette, and I'm really happy that I have it. I don't love it. I know I have some friends who really love this palette, and I feel like I should probably just like pass it on to them so they have a backup. But I think for now, it's one that I'm definitely going to keep. All right, the last palette in this series is, or not series, but for this video, is the Stila Eyes of the Window Soul palette. This one does have a mirror. I do like that this one, like you can hold it and it will actually stay. So like if I want to push it all the way up, I can. If I want it just to stay like that, it will, which is really nice because sometimes the floppy ones aren't as easy to work with. So in here you do, once again, like the last palette, there are 12 shades in here, and we'll give them a swatch. All right, so there they all are. Sorry, I leaned on my desk and I got a little indentation on my arm, so ignore that please. So that's what all of the shades look like when they are all swatched. These shimmers are really soft, really beautiful. I really do like the shimmers in here. The mattes are kind of dry. They work fine, but they're not like that smooth, buttery type of a eyeshadow. They just feel, they feel like a powder. They don't feel creamy like a lot of other lot of other shadows are feeling lately. So there's some nice colors in here, like this shade. Oh, that one's so pretty. I think that's Kitten, and that's kind of like, you know, one of their iconic colors. I really like this one down here too, which is Vitality, and just some really pretty shimmer shades in there. And every time I wore this, the look that I got, I felt comfortable in. I felt like I looked professional. I really did like it. So it is a palette that I'm keeping because I feel like this is a good work palette and I can use it and I like it, and it worked better than the other Stila palettes that I got. I got 4 of them at the same time, and the Soul one is definitely, I feel, the best of all of them. All right, time for the rankings. Which one is being, well, we already know what's being decluttered, but where did they come in? From 4 to 1. In 4th place is going to be the Winky Lux Kitten palette. I don't love the shadows that much. I don't love the color story. I just don't love this palette. I think there's a couple of really pretty ones. I like the 2 shimmers in that middle row. I think those are really nice. This one's kind of nice too, but it's kind of similar, I feel, to that one. It's a fine palette. It's not a terrible palette. It's just not one that I really like or enjoy, and I don't think it is as good as the other palettes that I'm talking about today. In 3rd place, I'm putting the StudioMakeup palette. This is a fine palette too. Like I said, I like the way that it performs. I just don't love the color scheme, And I feel like the shimmers in the other two palettes are just a little bit better than the shimmers in this one. These are nice shimmers, but the other ones are really beautiful shimmers. So that's where it really came down to which type of palette came in where for me for this go round. Second place is going to be the Stila Eyes of the World Soul palette. This was not where I was expecting to put this one at all, but the shimmers are really what brought it up, and I feel like it's just a really good, well thought out color story. Like, this is a nice everyday type of a color story. I feel like you can get some versatility out of it and a lot of nice work looks. So that is why it came in second, which is kind of interesting because this is another palette that I've been really debating. The StudioMakeup one and this one, I've been debating whether I should pass them along to somebody who will enjoy them more, who will get more use out of them. The only one that I know for sure is staying is Stila. Like, if somebody's like, hey, I want this palette, or if they want the StudioMakeup, I think I'm going to declutter the StudioMakeup just because I have so many and I'm not going to reach for it. But this one, I think if somebody wanted it, I would probably declutter it. So yeah, I like this one. I don't like the color story quite as well as the last one, which is funny because usually I want either a neutral that I can wear every day for work, or I want something bright and colorful and really pretty. And this is kind of like this weird in between, and I don't feel like it fits either of those categories. So I like the top part of it. The bottom I could leave most of the time. And I think the quality of this is above all of the other ones. That's why it became number one instead of the Stila or the Winky Lux or the StudioMakeup. Let me know if you've tried any of these palettes, what your thoughts and opinions are on these palettes. Please let me know how you're doing as well. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.